I put a countdown clock on, but I'm not certain that we'll be
Was
ready in
that
50 seconds.
was that some Forrest Gump flavor in that pre-show music? It sounded like it.
Explain yourself. What does that mean?
It just sounded like the theme to Forrest Gump, not the theme, the score, if you will. Just a little bit, just a little. Name that
I'll have to
tune
look
I
up who
heard.
did the score for that movie, but I don't think it was Hans Zimmer. But I'm not sure what you're talking about.
It wasn't you though, so no, we can probably cross that off.
I would love to say yes in this moment of improv, but I have no idea about the score of Forrest Gump.
Hey,
We have to talk about Marv Albert on the show. You've got Larry Brown
we've
news.
got so much.
I've got to actually post this video to Patreon so that our wonderful Patreon. I told you we wouldn't be ready by the time.
Right there. That's what sounded like Forrest Gump.
I've got to actually. No, I don't think that sounded like Forrest Gump at all. I'm sorry. I know you're supposed to say yes in these moments.
Yes, and
All right. What do you have to talk about? This is going to be a freewheeling Friday show, by the way, with an extended lounge period as I publish this episode.
I gotta say, this is perfect. I just got done talking with Nada and Walker on Locked on Hornets. They got the juices flowing. They got me warmed up. A back-to-back pod for Friday. So I'm ready to go. There's so much to talk about, Doug. So much crap has happened. I just saw Larry Brown back in the news because Roy Williams retired. I don't know if you knew, they both went to Carolina. And it was the usual stuff that I expected. He wants Roy to name his successor and so on and so on. But my favorite part of this at the very bottom, it was like Brown has been mentioned in connection with a position at Indiana. I was like, what? My God. People are still hiring Larry. It was something for a consultant of some sort. But God bless Larry Brown. I wanted to be at all of the posts, all of the big basketball posts.
Let's start the show there with the Larry Brown news, and this is relevant.
The Larry Brown news. We're the only people talking about the Larry Brown news.
Well, this is relevant, of course, because Larry Brown used to coach the Charlotte Bobcats. By the way, I see you every Charlotte company doing the Charlotte Bobcats April Fool's joke. It's not funny. It's old. People have done it before. Just stop. I can't deal with April Fools. I'm one of the crotchety people who hates April Fool's jokes from brands.
Well, Twitter's ruined it, like so many other things, but it's just completely ruined April Fools. There's no creativity, no originality. Look, I posted a fake picture or news.
Well, I feel like Google sent April Fools into the mainstream with their April Fool's jokes, and now they're not even doing it. And I don't know why. I mean, I assume they're not doing it because they, like a responsible brand, said, maybe let's not do April Fools in the midst of this hellscape that we currently find ourselves maybe slowly coming out of. But they've decided not to do it. And I think secretly it's not because of that. I think secretly it's because they went, ooh, it's not cool anymore. We started it. It was cool when we were only doing it. Now everyone else is doing it. And we've all been there, right? You start something, people start to like it.
Podcast, what have you. Sure.
Remember when we started podcasting in 2013 about the Hornets and nobody else was doing it? And now there are 9 of them, including our favorite one, which is not this one. It's Locked on Hornets.
Yeah.
Definitely subscribe to them and listen to them. But back to this Larry Brown news. Can we stop hiring Larry Brown?
The answer is no, unequivocally. I mean, no. I think that's one thing we do know is that will never stop. Okay,
he will never retire. I don't care.
Oh God, no.
The government needs to know about this. The government should know that whatever benefits he gets for retiring, he should not get them. I would like. I would like to call the government and ask them to revoke any retirement benefits because Larry Brown will not stop working.
Well, this is like Larry David, who also will never retire, and I'm all for that one. He told the guys that created It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He said, just don't stop doing the show. Don't cancel. Don't say you're going to stop doing the show. Just keep doing it, and let them know when you're ready. I think it's a brilliant way to do things. When you find your niche, just keep it going. Like, you don't have to stop. Like, they'll come back. They'll people will tune in. You can do that. And Larry Brown's basketball is never going to stop. Unless there's a lockout of some sort, and then he'll go to college ranks and share his wisdom there. So Larry Brown and Larry David, preaching the same thing.
This is not a Serious Hornets podcast. I'm Doug Branson. He is David Walker, reporting live, apparently, from somewhere in Charlotte, holding the microphone today from a couch. You look like a local news person.
I got my Joe Bruno going over here.
Right. You're about to sit down with, like, they sort of do this thing, especially around election time, where they try to find like normal folk, because they don't even know what they look like. So they have to go out and report on them. And that's what you look like right now. You're sitting in the home of, Mary Winston, who is an undecided voter somehow.
Those do still exist. Yeah. Very exciting. Doing some, moving some stuff around. Like I said, some people needed some people in the house, needed the office, needed the, it used to be the baby's room. We don't have babies anymore. So get that mess out of here, move in the treadmill, move in the Bowflex, and the podcast studio, which consists of my laptop and this microphone. So now it's transported into another room with a couch.
You have a treadmill and a Bowflex?
No. The new Bowflexes have treadmills on them, so we're covered there. I'm good. I don't need both anymore.
Oh, well, you look great, and I think that's the most important part. And you're holding a microphone great too, which I think is in your bloodstream, right? I mean, your father was now I only knew your father as the anchor.
He's behind the desk guy, yeah.
But was he a reporter before that? So if you don't know what we're talking about, Bill Walker was behind the desk on Channel 9 all during my growing up time, and certainly during David's as well.
Mine as well, yes.
But I'm did he start as a reporter?
He moved straight from radio to the anchor desk, I believe. Actually, let's bring him in, Dad. No, he's not. He's not. He's not on the couch beside me. Maybe we can get him in. Maybe, yeah. It's his time on the Bowflex treadmill. Maybe we can get him on one day to do some sort of Charlotte retrospective. But no, I think he went right to the desk from jump. That's what he was. The last time he was on the streets was no. The last time he was on the streets was slinging papers back in his hometown in eastern North Carolina. So that was straight behind the mic.
We've got a lot to get to on this show, but as you can see from the rundown that we put on here, it's going to be a freewheeling Friday show. We normally record on Tuesdays. We're going to get back to that next week. David already deciding to take a week off. I mean, we've only been doing this podcast for 3 weeks now, and you've decided to take a week off. I mean, I got to check the benefits package. I'm not sure that's allowed. I think that's going to be an unpaid vacation, but you're doing that. So I'm going to ask Walker or someone to join me, but we'll get back to this on Tuesday.
Maybe my dad. We'll see. I'll see what he's doing.
Honestly, don't kid around about that, because I would be thrilled. I would be like, few people would like starstruck me, I guess is the way to say that. I would be starstruck by very few people. I've been in NBA locker rooms, so you kind of get used to playing that role of like, I can't be impressed to see you because it's got to be professional. I think your dad would be one of those people because he was so a part. Like my family watched Channel 9 News. I mean, it was just such a part. Anyway, so don't kid around about that. Oh man, I got like butterflies in my stomach. We've got a lot to get to in this show. It is a freewheeling show, so we're going to kind of go all over the place. I want to start with what you talked about on Locked On Hornets. I want to go ahead and ruin that show by talking about everything that you talked about. What do they want to know from you?
Oh God. I mean, I've given those guys so much wisdom already. It's tough to keep coming up with new stuff. But no, I mean, we started off with the Nets game, which was fun to relive that one. And then we did some Roy talk, of course. And so it was a grab bag of kind of what's been going on in the week. But I mean, do you want to start with the Nets game? It wasn't that cool. It wasn't that fun.
I think we have to because it was a national TV game. We're sort of required to start with that game, and we had some injury news to get to. Before I do that, though, I do want to say that this show is listener supported. So the live stream, the equipment that we use, it's all because of your support, and you can support us by signing up at patreon.com/HornetsPod to help us keep making these shows. We might make them late, but we will make them for you every week. And I want to shout out some people who have been supporting this podcast and Locked On Hornets via Patreon since 2018. They've been on board, Adam Walter, Jeff Fox, Mike Kelly, Alex Warren, David Malone. Alan upgraded into the $5 tier. Thank you, Alan. Alan, of course, a longtime supporter of Locked On Hornets via Frame Warehouse. So visit Frame Warehouse for all your fromming needs.
Love Alan. Big shout out to Alan. Big supporter.
In the old country, fromming.
Big supporter, big friend. Always is giving us feedback. I don't know if I've shared any with you, Doug, but he's been listening all along the way. Was very upset with the technical troubles we had last week, as we all were. But we rebounded. We should shout out. We did get our first shouts from the streets, Doug, about where is the episode on Twitter. I don't know if you saw that this week.
Well, see, that's the secret reason why. I just wanted to see who was paying attention.
Right.
And so, yeah, we had a few people demanding they wanted to hear from us. Get on the air.
Shout out to T. Ashley.
Yeah, I want to shout out one other person that literally, I think, just rejoined us. Has been a long-time supporter of the show. Yes, Rich is back on the Patreon.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe this is the first time on the Patreon, but I feel like he's been on the Patreon before. But he's back, Rich, from across the pond. It even shows it. His pledge is in pounds. Or euros, I guess.
God, that's classic.
Are they back to pounds? Dang. I don't know. You have to tell me, Rich, because I know there was a Brexit, so they're out of the EU. Are they still using euros, or are you back to pounds? I hope you go back to pounds because I think that's awesome. I think pounds is a great thing to refer to money as.
We'll take anything. NFTs. Are we doing that? Anything.
Yeah. Okay. If you have a Top Shot, you can donate. You can donate a corner 3 by Aaron Gordon to us.
We gotta do it at some point. Once we figure it all out. Of course, once we figure out what that is, it'll be over. But we should talk about whatever that is. That's it.
I'm going to spend all the Patreon money. I would have to have Patreon money for probably 6 years to get a corner 3 by Aaron Gordon. I mean, these Top Shots are just out of control how much they cost. We'll buy a Top Shot. Well, it'll be an investment. You know, we talked about this on the last show where you can invest in like a percentage of a card. We'll just buy an NFT and it'll be the Patreon's NFT as a small investment. But I hope they start digging back into old archives because I want like a Ramon Sessions blown transition layup Top Shot.
Yeah, I mean, like how much is a Jop airballed free throw Top Shot? I mean, is that what's that going for? You know,
it's $17,000.
You know what's crazy? And pounds. We should do the conversion. But I was talking to Nada and Walker, and we got a little bit into the sneaker talk, and it was a top of mind, but I didn't mention it. I mean, I think there's going to be like NFT sneakers at some point, like people just get wins, you know, on sneakers when you actually get a shoe, which is impossible, but when you actually purchase one, they say got them, and like people share that's the big prize almost. Like that's more important to people than actually having the shoe. And some people have theorized that that's where we're going. Like people are not going to actually have physical shoes, and it tracks with all this stuff we're doing.
They can't afford to actually buy shoes because
there's nowhere to go
all
anyway.
Their money's on got 'em NFTs.
Right.
And so we're just going to walk around shoeless, but you know, millionaires on paper. Okay. Let's talk about something that's slightly less depressing than the current state of our economy, and that is the Charlotte Hornets, who were blown out on national television by the Brooklyn Nets in their flame throwbacks. I love those Nets throwback. I have a hat with that logo on it that I just absolutely
so crazy. Love. Those things were hated for years, but what is old is new again.
Well, I tend to
love. You did not. No,
I tend to love. I tend to love the jerseys.
You didn't like those at the time.
Okay. I did.
No,
I like the Detroit Pistons chess piece unis. Nobody likes those.
So those are the Grant Hills. These would be called the Drazen Petroviches for sure, right?
Love
the
those.
Nets. They do look good. I mean, you know, it's Carolina blue, so it looks good.
Okay, what I didn't love is the Charlotte Hornets just getting mud stomped on national television. David, what went wrong?
God, I mean, I didn't expect them just to not show up. Again, we delved into this on Locked On Hornets, but I don't know that it was prime time, you know, not ready for prime time players. I just didn't expect that from this team. I find I find it hard to believe. It's not like they're a high school football team playing on the local cable access for the game of the week. I mean, this is an NBA team. It's TNT, sure,
it's a
but
veteran team, right? I mean, we have to get away, and it's hard because we just sat through a TNT broadcast that is just going. They don't ever watch the Charlotte Hornets, so it's all going to be easy narratives. I can't tell you how many times Chris Webber was like, "Man, if they only had LaMelo Ball." Look, I love LaMelo Ball. I think he changed the team for the better, but I'm not sure LaMelo Ball helps win them that basketball game. I mean, the Nets, without Kevin Durant, without James Harden, they were just shooting the basketball extremely well. LaMelo's not helping them drastically defensively. Too many open shots, not converting on offense and then allowing that to dictate your defense. So we have to get away from the easy narratives. This wasn't about national TV. This was just about confronting a Nets team that not only has a significant amount of talent, they had a particular piece in LaMarcus Aldridge that is just built. Like if you asked me to build a player that could hurt the Hornets the most on offense, I think it might be LaMarcus Aldridge, because we don't have anyone that can guard that kind of talent.
He makes PJ look tiny. I mean, we've been watching LaMarcus Aldridge for years, but it was shocking how much just like stout, he looked thick against those guys, which is, it was wild. It was like PJ was always just peering around his shoulder. Whoever was on him just couldn't get in place to guard the guy. And of course he was fresh, but he was ready to go and he was killing it. I mean, Jeff Green was drilling threes. Shamet was drilling threes. Tyler Johnson, everybody. Yeah. It was just a complete knockout punch that the Hornets never recovered from. And when they couldn't stop anybody, and you can't shoot, and you're not getting rebounds, and your three main guys just are not giving you anything on offense, yeah, you're gonna get blown out. But that's not a game that should have gone like that. Not without Durant and Harden. I mean, it just shouldn't. So it's a little bit surprising to see the Hornets come out like that. I mean, I guess they put up a bit of a fight. I was waiting for it, but the hole is just, 30 points is just too deep.
They weren't even turning the basketball over that much. Only 11 turnovers in this game for the Hornets. They weren't moving the basketball that much, so maybe that's why. But they were getting out rebounded. A lot of offensive rebounds for Brooklyn. You don't want to give anyone on that team a second chance. And it was just tough. I mean, I think they lose that game regardless, just because of how well they shot it, especially in the first half. It was nice, at least, to see them have some fight in that second quarter. Malik Monk especially. I mean, there were only two players in this game that had a plus-minus above 0. One of them was Malik Monk. Do you know the other one?
Wanamaker.
You are correct, sir. Brad Don't You Wanamaker had a +5 in this game. Great percentage. 60% from the field, 1 of 2 from 3. 9 points. 3 assists.
He tried to murder Miles Bridges with a lob that sent Bridges through the backboard and into the stanchion. So it's still getting the timing down there a little bit, but was just mildly better than Malik Monk's lob that hit the side of the backboard. Not exactly connecting on those last night were the Hornets.
PJ Washington still struggling offensively. 3 of 11 from the field in this one. 8 points, 8 rebounds. Just tough. I mean, it's difficult. Yeah. Everyone was having an off night. Gordon Hayward, I think, I know he's not a 3-point shooter, but I just feel like, especially over the last 4 or 5 games, his inability to consistently knock down a 3-point shot has hurt the Hornets offensively.
Does it look like he's just wearing down? Not worn down, but he looks tired. I mean, it looks like a lot of this season is wearing on him. I'm talking the testing, blah, 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 all this stuff. It just looks like his legs aren't there the last couple of weeks.
I would agree. I mean, when you look at how he's missing, I mean, that's how I, in my infinite wisdom, try to view these things. How are the misses happening? And I just feel like he's way off. And I don't think it's, for somebody who's been in the league as long as him, I don't think it's a mechanics thing. I do think it's some kind of fatigue thing. And listen, it's not getting any better. They've got a second half of a back-to-back tonight against Indiana. And then 2 days later, they play again. So it's tough. I mean, it's tough. I think this season has been difficult for a lot of players in that respect. But Rozier was confident in this game, but not shooting the basketball well, 4 of 11. Devontae Graham 3 of 9. The Martin twins, 1 of 7 for Cody, 0 of 3 for Caleb. Zeller was 2 of 3, didn't get much action, although I think he's got to get more. I mean, I think Biz, I don't want to like pin the blame on him for this loss because I don't think he can pin it on anyone, but he was particularly bad in that first quarter. He wasn't catching, he wasn't guarding LaMarcus without fouling, and it's just tough. I don't understand what it's going to take to make that switch back. Maybe they're just worried about putting a lot of minutes on Zeller because he has been on and off injured throughout the season.
Maybe it's so deflating when you are in a game like that and you're looking for anything to go right and you create a play that would appear has created an easy bucket and it just it just glances off Biz's hands. And we all love Biz, but it's just tough to watch sometimes. And I had a crazy thought that maybe we'd see an uptick with Biz with LaMelo out. It was a super hot take that I'm glad I never threw out there because his catching of the ball has not improved. I was thinking maybe that LaMelo's passes maybe had a little too much spice on them and were just a little too out of the blue. But no, it's had nothing to do with LaMelo. Biz is still just struggling to to catch the ball and make a play with it. So
did Cody, but Cody Zeller. But to be fair, some of the passes that like Devontae Graham and others were throwing at him were going straight at his face. Like aim for the hands. Why?
No good passes.
Like, we're not even protecting Cody. It's not even about Cody protecting himself. It's like we're not even protecting Cody at this point.
Yeah, that was a horrible game. I mean, it just was, and you hope you see a bounce back tonight, right? It's the second night of a back-to-back, which is always tough. I didn't see the fourth quarter minutes. Hopefully, Borrego did rest most of those guys. Just threw up the white flag as it got later in that game. But that is the worst type of game when you are out of it within the first 2 minutes. It's just so disappointing. I don't care about the national TV. I really don't. Like, who cares at this point? It's cool. It's fun, but I mean, I was checking various sources, if you know what I mean, Doug, to see if I could find DC and EC to just soothe. But they weren't doing it last night. A big time game.
No, that's only on an NBA TV when it's a home game. You can still get the home announcers, but when it's on TNT, they get the exclusive. You can listen to radio. Okay, so we haven't, strangely. Now this is episode 3. We really haven't looked at the standings all that much, so we'll do that now. Then we'll talk about this Malik Monk injury. He goes down late in this game with it looked like a leg injury at first, but now it seems like it's an ankle sprain. We'll get to that in just a second. But I do want to look at the standings really quick because I have them up. So the Hornets are still in 4th place in the Eastern Conference at 24-23. So they still have a winning record. They're still hanging on in the Eastern Conference. We'll talk about schedule in a second too, because that's maybe makes that look a little dicey. Also looking dicey, the Heat, who are making the Hornets look dicey because they have won 3 in a row. They now sit at 25-24, so they're coming for that 4 seed. I said this to Katie last night. I said the Hornets right now are king of the also-rans. And she looked at me with a very confused look and said, also-rans. Is this a phrase you're familiar with, to say someone's an also-ran?
I am familiar with it, but just so we're on the same page, what did you say to producer Katie?
I said it's like if you're in an election or like a primary election, and you were an also-ran. You ran, but you weren't actually competitive.
In the front.
Right. You were never a threat. And that's, the Hornets right now are in this. So it goes Nets, half game back Sixers, 3 games back the Milwaukee Bucks, not the Cleveland Cavaliers, as Marv Albert would have you believe. He said that at one point. One of the many things that he said a lot of things. He and Weber. I mean, Marv, every game they give you a pronunciation guide. Just give it a quick glance.
Which ones?
Give it a quick glance.
Which ones got you last night?
Bayambo? I think
That's
he said
weird.
I think he said Bismack Bayambo. I don't even know. It's not even. That's not even like a
Brooks at one point.
That's not even like one. And of course, Jim Borrego. That's.
It's.
James
it's
and
in
Jim
the neighborhood.
It's not far off, but it's just like weird. People will do that sometimes, though. If they'll call you, See, I don't think Marv is doing it in a sinister way, but have you ever had someone call you something that's not quite your name?
But it technically, letter of the law could be, yeah.
Right. And so, so
Jim and James is kind of, that's like Bill, William, stuff like that. Bob, Robert, if you will.
Right. Or Jack, John, which is a weird
John
one.
and Jack, that's my favorite one, yeah.
John Jack, which is, I don't even get that one.
No, I like it though.
Or somebody like I go by my middle name, but my first name is Robert, and some people will they'll call you that when they know it. And it's like, dude, what are you doing right now? What kind of psychological games are you trying to play with me right now? And I don't know if Marv is trying to do that, but he calls James Borrego Jim for some reason. Anyway, I'm getting way off the point.
I know, but let me stay there for 1 second because I've always wanted to bring this up on this show. C-Web and Marv are
a disaster.
Interesting duo. My favorite oddball duo is Ian Eagle and Grant Hill. And I've told you this, but I think Grant Hill is basically the Perd Hapley of the announcing game. He just says stuff that he is saying when he says it, as it were. And he calls Ian Eagle Bird. He calls Ian Eagle Bird. I've never heard any other partners call Ian Eagle Bird. Maybe that's his nickname. His name is Ian Eagle. He doesn't need a nickname.
It's a cool enough name.
It's a cool enough name.
This bothers me a lot when people who have cool names are also given nicknames. It's not great. Let's just go with the cool. One cool name's enough. Save it for the rest of us who need cool nicknames.
Right, guys. Come on.
Back to the standings. So in the Eastern Conference, really, you have 3 on-paper contenders: the Brooklyn Nets, the 76ers, and the Bucks. Then the Hornets are in 4th. I would put the Miami Heat. I think the Miami Heat are eventually going to figure it out. I think they're going to figure it out. And so they've got a depot now. They're going to figure it out. So really, to me, I think there are 4 contenders in the East, and I would put the Hornets, the Celtics, Pacers, Hawks. I can't buy the Knicks right now. I just can't do it.
I know.
But I would put them all in a box. Like it's like a Schrodinger's cat experiment. I don't know if any of these are contenders, but I also don't know if they're not contenders. But the Hornets, I think, are going to be fun, and I think they're still going to be a 4 or 5 seed. Without a big, I just don't see. Yeah, I think they're capped. I think they're absolutely capped.
I think one of those teams, like you said, shake them up. One of them is going to cause some trouble once we get into the playoffs. Like, you know what I mean? I'm just not sure who it is for that top 3.
I know it's not the Bulls. I don't believe in the Bulls. I don't believe in the Knicks. I don't believe in the Hawks. Celtics just have too much talent. I don't know what the heck's going on there.
Yeah, that's a mess. I think if you had LaMelo, Charlotte might be the leader in that, in that troublemaker category. They could. I just want to keep saying that until this is me summoning.
I'm summoning LaMelo Ball back healthy. They could.
So on the LaMelo thing, it's not a knee. It's not an ankle. It's not one of those pesky joints that you really worry about just a long-term effect, right?
Just like a dumb old thumb.
Yeah. So they're not going to rush him back, of course. We haven't really talked LaMelo injury on here, but they're not going to rush him back. But I think if he can go, if the doctors sign off on it, he's probably going to play. That's the only thing he knows about. I mean, he's going to go and give it a go.
Well, I'd say a couple of things. I think LaMelo, we've all talked about how mature Melo is for a 19-year-old, and I think Melo is very aware of like the long-term prospects for his career. I mean, I think LaMelo sees himself as a future superstar in the league. I think he tells him he whispers that to himself and his stuffed animals before he goes to bed. Like, I think he's just the kind of guy that just knows, right? And so I think LaMelo, I'm not saying he would stay out just to stay out, but I think he's going to be a little bit more aware of, that kind of thing. And I think and so that's what you want. You want a player to have a healthy competitive sense, which I think he has, and a healthy sense of like responsibility to your body and your longevity of your career. You want those two things kind of competing with one another to the point that reason ends up winning the day. And so I think you're going to have a situation where the team and LaMelo are going to be responsible, but also if he gets a clean bill of health, then I don't think that there's anything that's going to stop him from playing later on into the season. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, to be perfectly honest.
No, it's going to be interesting too, right? Like, what if fans are all back? What if that place is rocking and rolling with a home playoff game or something? The pull is going to be real for him to try and come back, but we'll see. I mean, I still think he's the rookie of the year. I think it's nonsense.
Oh man,
to be. I mean, I know it's a lot. It's just not even close. It's not even close. The impact.
You're right,
and what he's done.
You're right. The impact for sure, and I think narrative still is with LaMelo. But I'll tell you that Anthony Edwards is going to make this damn interesting because it's not just him scoring right now, and he's doing a lot of that.
Yeah.
If you look at his stats over the past couple of weeks, he's doing a little bit of everything, especially in the absence of D'Angelo Russell. Now that I think that would be the interesting thing when D'Lo comes back.
Oh, that's gonna be interesting.
Right. What is that? How does that impact the rookie of the year race? How does that impact his stats? Because right now, Ant-Man
and Beasley's back though, right? I believe.
I think so. But I mean, right now, because I only know this because he's on my fantasy team.
Here we go. Here we go.
I got him off waivers. Can you believe that? Like several weeks ago. I got him off waivers.
Well, are you in a league that takes percentages or efficiency into account at all? Because I know why he was on waivers.
Well, yes, but he's gotten better. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. He's improved. And you know who's not improved? John Wall. My God. Like just one game be over 40%. Just one game. Anyway, I don't want to talk about my fantasy team. It's the most boring subject.
No one wants to hear about that. But I think the other thing for me on Rookie of the Year, I don't care. Like I think it'd be awesomely cool if he got it. It would be just, it would be right. And I know Hornets fans are pulling for that, but like there is no reason to get super upset. They've still got the best player, in my opinion. Although you're right, Anthony Edwards is coming on strong, but like they've still got the guy. He does not need a trophy or an award to justify that. I mean, as a matter of fact, go back and look at some of the, people that won Rookie of the Year over the long-term, clearly best winner. Just go back in history and look at that. I mean, Emeka Okafor. There's more that I can't think of to prove my point at this moment, but don't worry about it. Like if he gets it, it's great. If he does come back, I think it only helps him, obviously. But if he doesn't, it's not that big a deal.
Well, in his quest to match the statistics and accomplishments of Michael Jordan, it would set him back significantly. We've been tracking that on this show. It's kind of frozen in ice right now as he's on the bench. But Michael Jordan, of course, was named Rookie of the Year. Also, his All-Star appearance, his first All-Star appearance was his rookie year. That's amazing.
He was good.
He averaged 28.2 points, 6.5 rebounds, 5.9 assists, and 2.4 steals in 82 games that he played with the Bulls in 1985.
Played all 82, guys. All 82 kids. That's how they did it back then.
That's right.
That's how they did it.
A different game. Everyone played with pocket knives and steel bear traps at half court that you had to jump over. Let's talk about another injury. Malik Monk. It happened last night. He was flying through the air as Malik Monk is wont to do. Unfortunately, he did not come down cleanly. I thought at first he got caught up on Cody's shoe, but I looked at the replay.
I thought he rolled it. He didn't roll it on somebody's foot? I thought he did.
I looked pretty closely. I think he just came down awkwardly. Maybe he was trying to avoid someone's leg, and I thought it hit the floor pretty cleanly. But anyway, rolled his ankle. Luckily, it wasn't a broken leg or anything gruesome like that. Gordon Hayward knows all about that and what it can do to your career. Oh. I know. Sorry, oof. I didn't mean to. I should have gotten a trigger warning there. But anyway, Malik Monk sprained ankle. We'll see how serious it is. A tough setback for Malik Monk, who's just really had a great year. Career averages in points, doing work on his efficiency as well. His effective field goal percentage this season has been 56.8%, up from the high of last season, which was 49.4%. His overall field goal percentage is up, but mainly his 2-point percentage is actually down, David. His 3-point percentage has gone through the roof, finally. So what we've been crowing for years with Malik Monk is get that. Where are the 3-point shots? And they're there now. He's career high in 3 points attempted, made, and percentage at 42.4% this year. And he almost kind of started a possible comeback in that Brooklyn Nets game. You wanted it, you were calling for it, and Malik Monk almost gave it to you as he was knocking down shot after shot.
I know. That's what I was going to say. He actually was the spark that they were looking for. I mean, or at least started to be. The hole was just, too deep for one man to climb out of that. But yeah, I mean, and that's what you feel good about, because that is the guy that he has become. That's the guy that he kind of has to be for this team right now to keep improving, be that microwave scorer off the bench and the guy you can just throw it to when nothing else is going right. And he did a little bit of that before he got hurt. I mean, Nada was saying he wasn't blaming JB, or he had some questions about whether Monk should have been in the game at that point. But I mean, somebody's got to play.
Right.
The starters were out. If you're going to keep a guy out there that may give you a spark and you can sneak into that 10-point territory, the game, I mean, that's the guy you want out there. So you got to play him.
And he was playing well. It wasn't like he was playing poorly. I mean, he was playing well.
They don't have anybody else to put in.
Keep shooters warm, baby. You got to keep shooters warm. You know what Dell says. Oh, wait. I didn't have the fader up. Classic Doug Branson mistake. You know what Dell says.
Get him some shots.
One of my favorite. Dell used to say that all the time. Now he just says what when Eric Collins drops a weird fact on him.
Oh man, we ran into Eric Collins and Dell Curry on the way out of the Suns game on Sunday. I didn't tell you about this.
Okay,
took my oldest. It was his birthday. Shout out to William. Took him to the Hornets game for his birthday. We had a fantastic time. Great seats. This pandemic, I tell you what, is doing wonders for the game day experience. There's no lines. You can get up whenever you want. Don't have to worry about somebody blocking your view. It's fantastic. But on the way out,
you do. On the other hand, you do have the threat of death.
Listen, everybody's got to make concessions, Doug. Speaking of the concessions, they're there. Okay, they give you a private room to eat them in. Now, we ran into DC and EC on the way out, and William was feeling pretty down. He was pretty upset about that game, and said, "Hey guys, got a birthday here." And
whoa, you pulled the birthday card.
I know, it was classic dad move.
What are they? Hold on. Let's stop there. You've got more story, but I need to ask you: Did you think this was like a TGI Fridays or something, that like Eric and Dell were the hostesses? You're like, hey, got a birthday here, if you want to come out with a cake and sing. Like, what are you doing?
Look, the last 5 minutes, we were the last people in the arena. The guy had to come tell us to leave. That's how hard we were taking this loss. Wow. I mean, the back of the seat was punched. I was looking for anything to bring a smile to my guy's face. Bought him, a Buzz City basketball, bought him a foam finger. Nothing was working. I'll tell you what worked. Dell Curry, Eric Collins walking by. I gave the birthday shout out as they're walking. I mean, EC, just as smooth as silk, was like, hey, yo, birthday. Let me guess. Gave him a quick scan. 8 years old. Nailed it on the head. 8-year-old birthday. Eric Collins. Boom. And I was like, that's what you get with the pro, William. And let me tell you something. It worked. Okay, not on me, not just on me, but on young William, and it was fantastic.
Eric pulled out the carnival trick. I don't even know. Honestly, I don't know what to think about that. Like, I don't know how to handle a grown man who's able to like tell people's ages like that. I don't know.
Well, it's a parent thing, because I was with you, but now I kind of get in the neighborhood too. You just know the look of. I think also Williams lost a bunch of teeth up front, so that puts you in the neighborhood of 7, 8, 9.
So you're essentially telling me that your kid is like a tree, and in a tree you can tell the age by the rings. So a kid is sort of a reverse that. You can tell by how many teeth they've lost.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was saying.
Gotcha. Okay, that's an interesting story. I like. Give me the EC impression again, real quick.
So I go, got a birthday here. Hello, birthday. 8 years old, and then I was like, yes, and he goes, ha ha, and then disappeared behind the curtain.
Then Dell threw a smoke bomb, and they both disappeared.
And then he goes, Miles Bridges. No, I didn't do that.
All right.
Dell was already way down the hall. He was like, I don't give a damn how old this kid is. I'm out of here. It's Sunday.
It's true. He's got several kids that he's got to worry about. He doesn't have to worry about. You didn't need to worry about your kid. Let's wrap some stuff up here. We will talk more about the rest of this schedule real quick. I do want to mention this schedule because it's brutal. Go back here and get you a rundown. So they play the Pacers tonight. They play the Celtics 2 days later. So that's 3 games in 4 nights against Eastern Conference competitive teams. Of course, this is a big road trip, by the way, 6-game road trip. I think it's the longest of the season, tied for that West Coast roadie they just went on. So both of those.
And the last one, right?
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah. Oh, the last one was 5 games: Denver, Los Angeles, San Antonio, Houston.
Right, but this is the last kind of extended road trip they got.
True. Yeah, they only have. You're right. They only have 3, 5, 7 road games. So a lot of home games that could play in their favor as they try to avoid the play-in tournament. But they got Celtics. Then they go to play the Thunder. They get a couple of nights off. Then they go to play the Thunder. Thunder, young team, scrappy team, though. You never know what you're going to get out of them. That could be interesting. And then, of course, Milwaukee on April 9th to end the road trip. Yikes.
Always a good matchup.
Good news, though, they get the Lakers on April 13th, and that will probably be without, most likely, James and Anthony Davis. So that could and Andre Drummond, apparently, who hurt his toe. I don't know. I don't know how long he's going to be out, but
LeBron, Jim, and Tony Davis.
Well, you say that, and I thought before the show, I'm like, how many people have I heard Marv mispronounce that I just take for the actual, because I put trust in these people, and how many people have I been mispronouncing because I just heard Marv say it and just took it for gospel? No more. My eyes are open, people.
Okay. You got to do your own homework. You can't depend on Marv.
Let's look. I do want to look at screen time. Look at the last 4 games. Gordon Hayward, it has been PJ Washington for a while. He's been getting the most screen time, but Gordon Hayward getting more action. That's like I said, the efficiency, though, hasn't been there. Only shooting 38% from the field, 39% from 3. So that cuts a bit against my argument that Gordon has not been dropping them from 3. But it's 1.8 on 4.5 attempts. Rozier under him at 36.5. PJ Washington, Miles Bridges, and Devontae all kind of jumbled up there at 30 minutes per game. So really working the starters a lot. And then you got Malik Monk and Cody Martin and Biz getting the majority of the bench minutes. But Malik really has been converted into the 6th man. Really has been playing somewhat of a starter role. So that's screen time. You want to give away some medals? I've got a couple of nominations.
Yeah, go ahead and give yours there.
I mean, I would say gold medal, got to go with Malik Monk. I just think he's been playing like a man on fire, even though he's been injured. I would just say, yeah, I mean, he's missed a couple of games, but I'm still going to give it to him just because, I mean, I love the effort that he showed against Brooklyn. I hope he gets back. I mean, they just need him. But in the 2 games that we did see him play last week, 57% from the field, 57% from 3. I mean, he's just been great. 21 points per game. I just love it. So silver medal, I'll go Miles Bridges, man. I just think he's been doing a little bit of everything. He's back to kind of that double-double threat and shot well from the field. Free throw percentage has skyrocketed this year. He's really gotten that up, but 6 rebounds and 2 offensive rebounds a game averaging for the past week. So I love that. And then I'll throw a bronze medal, I'll throw a bronze medal at, let's go Terry Rozier, who's been our gold medal winner. Been a gold medal winner, but I think he drops to bronze just because some of these other guys have been playing well. And then, I mean, PJ Washington gets my back of the milk carton flow award. Just, I don't know. Where he at?
So that's a frustrating thing for me. I thought we were nearing territory where you could count on PJ, to be stable, or Miles, or one of them, but we keep fluctuating between the two. At least I do. One plays well for a stretch, the other one plays well for a stretch. You're dead on Miles. I mean, especially that Suns game. I mean, the dunks were fantastic, but all the contributions he made there. But you just can't. I don't know I don't know how they finally. They're just going to have to, pick one at some point, but neither one wants to take the lead and be consistent in certain areas consistently. And like that's going to be the tricky thing for Mitch. I mean, I keep going back and forth. I don't know where you are. I was about to settle on PJ as maybe, their guy to put in the core moving forward. But if a team called and they were like, we need, they were going to pick, I think the Hornets can't have a preference at this point. It's hard.
Yeah, I called Malik Monk the sixth man, but Miles averaging more minutes at 30 minutes per game. But honestly, like, I don't see him as a sixth man. I see him as, like, you have to play Biz, but really you want to be starting Miles. So
yeah, it's like a sixth starter.
Yeah, I mean, Malik sort of plays that role of sixth man traditionally, what you'd see, like, coming off microwave score, that type of thing. Miles has been playing way more minutes. It's just a tough situation with the bigs right now. Like, what do you do? I honestly, other than you maybe should have traded for somebody, but if you saw this team as like a cap team anyway, and you were like, all right, I mean, I get it, but at the same time, it's just frustrating because I think you and I can see like the potential because they've got, I think if Gordon gets back on track with Gordon and Rozier and Graham starting to play well, like, you could see like, oh man, like, this team could actually do some damage in the playoffs. But they didn't want to give away any assets for a team that really wasn't going to be in championship contention.
And I understand that too, and I think the LaMelo injury obviously hurts them, even in the buyout market, right? Like, guys may have looked at this, say, "Oh, I'll play with LaMelo for a couple months, and then see what happens." But without him, Charlotte's still a fun team, but not quite as fun with the bigs. And then you're putting them up against the Nets and the Lakers and the whomevers of the world, that are traditionally more in the conversation than the Hornets. And I think they're inching their way towards being more of an attractive destination, but they're just not there yet. And it's just this type of year, people aren't going to take the leap that they may be willing to next time around. So I was on board with that strategy, Doug, that kind of, let's wait and see. You didn't want to commit to something that you may have to commit to long-term without seeing how LaMelo was going to mix in with whatever you brought in.
Right.
And they're just not going to give up assets. And I'm fully behind that. They're not going to give up anything. Even to claim Wanamaker, they didn't give up anything. So I was totally fine with that.
If Malik Monk is out for an extended period of time with that ankle, if it's a high ankle sprain or something like that, then the Wanamaker suddenly, it looks a little bit prophetic.
Well, that's it. I mean, they had to. And it just makes Gordon, Terry, and Devontae, they got to do it every night now with Monk out. I mean, they have
to knock down open opportunities, because that's what you saw against the Nets. I mean, they just couldn't, they can't defend, so they've got to shoot the ball well to stay in games. Yep. All right. This has been fun. This has been a freewheeling show. We'll get it kind of back on track. You're taking the week off. Enjoy your time away, you son of a gun, but you'll be back in 2 weeks. This has been a lot of fun. Thanks for joining us. Support us on Patreon, patreon.com/HornetsPod. You can drop us questions there. You can drop us comments there. You can drop those comments in this YouTube video if you're watching it. Or if you're listening, you can go to Patreon and drop us a comment there. And we'll do some questions. If you got questions, shoot them to us. Well, yeah, I want to take questions. All right, we're making it up as we go along, and it's only going to get better. For David, I'm Doug, saying go Hornets, go America, let's swarm.